Hey guys, today I'm excited to bring to you a new series that we're going to call Bass Fishing for Beginners, okay? I'm going to start off, just treat it like somebody who knows absolutely nothing about bass fishing. We're going to start at the beginning and try to go step by step through the process of picking out equipment, setting up that equipment, getting it ready, going out and fishing with it. You know, everything that I can think of that would help somebody who's never bass fished before. That's what I want to try to focus on, is you true beginners, and help you through the journey. You know, any questions you have, I want to try to answer in the comments. So today we're going to start off episode number 1. It's going to be bait casters. Starting off, there's 2 different types of bait casters you're going to hear. This is a round type bait caster. It was used quite a bit. I have a couple of them. I don't use them that much anymore. The other type is a low profile, which is what most bass fishermen are using now. You can kind of tell the difference. And if you're a beginner and you haven't fished before, I'm going to recommend the low profile anyway. So, especially if you're a young kid and your hands are small, you're going to be able to grip this better once it gets on the reel. You're going to be able to get your hands around it better than this big guy. But these are the other 2 I just wanted you to know about, both kinds. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start off on the reel. We're going to go from one side to the other, explaining to you what each piece is, what they do, and how they all work together, okay? So first off, I want you to think of a reel. All it is a winch. It casts the bait out there for you, and it's going to bring it back. It's just a winch. So all of these different parts of it, they work together to make that hopefully a successful cast, and to get it back in to help you fight the fish along the way. So starting on this side, we got the reel handle. It's just turned in a forward motion, helps bring the line in and out. You can get a reel in left-handed or right-handed models. Basically what you're going to have to do is go to the store, see which one fits you best. If you've never fished before, I mean, you have that opportunity to see which one's most comfortable for you. I use a right one. I'm right-handed. I got a buddy that's left-handed. He uses a right-handed models. I know right-handed people that use a left-handed model. So that's going to be something, just comfort, whatever feels best to you. There is no right or wrong on that. Just whatever's most comfortable to you. So the next piece inside the handle, you're going to see this star looking piece. And what this is the drag system. What drag is say you're throwing 10-pound test on this, which means it's going to break at 10 pounds. You're going to have, that don't mean you can catch a fish up to 10. Say you catch a 6-pounder and you got him right at the boat and he makes a run, okay? He can break that 10-pound line pretty easy if you have this drag all the way down. So what you want to do is you want to adjust your drag to what pound test line you have, and you want it to actually give line away from the spool to keep from breaking that line. And we'll go over that farther when we're going with setting up the reels once we get them spooled up and ready to go. So the next item you're going to see here, this is a tensioner knob, and it adjusts the spool tension, which I'm sure you heard. If backlashing is something that gets a lot of people away from a bait casting reel, and if this is properly set, I mean, you're going to turn that way down. I mean, I'm going to be honest, you're never going to get away from backlashing altogether. You're going to do them occasionally. I mean, I've fished for years and years and years. I still get them. You know, you throw into the wind sometimes. You're trying to cast a lighter lure too far. You'll still get it, but this will drastically cut it down. Okay. The next item you got is your spool release button. That's at the back of the reel. Sometimes they're at the side. This one's at the back in the middle. What that does is once you depress that, you press that down, it releases this spool, puts that spool in a casting mode. So when you push that button down, this button down here, you're going to want to keep your thumb engaged on the spool, which we'll go over that when we're into casting. But this is the spool release button, okay? You keep hearing everything, the tensioner, spool tensioner, and the release spool, or the release button. This is the spool. This is what's going to hold the line. You're going to spool the line onto the spool, and this is what holds the line. Okay. The next thing is you have this line guide right here in the front. what that does is as you're reeling, it's going back and forth. And it's putting that line evenly on your spool so it don't just wad up on one side. You have a bunch of line over here and no line over here. And that'll help with casting. Makes it come off the spool easier. Okay, if you turn it to the bottom, you have what's called the reel seat. This is what sets into the rod and holds the reel onto the rod. Basically, there's normally a tensioner you'll screw on. We'll go over that. So you have that. Now moving to this side, you have your braking system. Some of these braking systems are external and some are internal. By what I mean by that is you turn this, say it's not windy and you're coming around a point and all of a sudden the wind starts blowing, or say you're out just fishing in a pond and the wind's not blowing, you're not having any backlashes the way it's going, you're making casts, the wind starts blowing. You notice you start getting a little bit loose line here. You can adjust these magnets and it will prevent that. Now some are internal. The ones that's internal, what you have to do is you have to take, there'll be a couple of normally protruding screws on this side of the reel. You'll loosen them off. This side plate will come off and you can adjust them inside there. And again, we'll go over that when we go into setting up the reel. Now, these bait casters come in what's called a gear ratio. This particular model is a 8:3:1. It's normally listed, if it's not on the reel, it should be on the box. You want to know that before you purchase the reel. And what those numbers mean, where it says 8, like this one says 8.3 semicolon or colon to 1. What that's saying is if I make one revolution of this reel or this reel handle, this spool is going to turn 8.3 times. Okay. Now, anything from 7 and up is considered a high-speed reel. But if you're just going to have one reel, I would recommend getting a 6.4 to 1. That's kind of the middle of the road there. And that's going to allow you to fish anything. You're going to be able to throw your crankbaits on it, your spinnerbaits on it, your pitch and flip on it. I mean, you can do anything with a 6.4 to 1. The reason I fish with, say, an 8.3 to 1 is I use them when I'm flipping, if I'm real close, because I want to pick up as much line as I can with each reel turn. That way I can get right back in and make another cast. But if you go with too high one, say you're throwing this 8.3 to 1 and you're throwing a deep diving crankbait, okay? That has a lot of resistance on it as it's coming through the water, and it can put a bind on your wrist, your shoulders. You know, you wouldn't think it, but it can if you're out there all day. So I would recommend a 6.4 to 1. I have a bunch of them, and that's what I use most of the time, unless I'm pitching and flipping, then I'll go with a high-speed reel. So I'm going to put up an image at the end of this video, and it's going to show, you know, more in detail, a closer up view with each piece itemed or marked. That way, if I've made anything unclear here, if you have any comments or anything, leave them down in the description. I'll be glad to answer them. Or if we need to come back and revisit this, I'd be glad to. As far as price points on these, they go from, you can get these things from $29 to $500. So if it's my first one, I mean, basically you're just going to have to figure out what your budget is. They have some combos for less than $100. A combo is going to be a reel and a rod in one. In my opinion, if you can afford it, I mean, you would need to budget $200, I would say. And that's going to get you one that's going to last for a while. It's going to be, you know, kind of mid-quality, and it's going to last you for a couple of years. So you can budget $100 for the reel, $100 for the rod. It's going to get you by for a while. Like I said though, I'm going to put some in the description, some that I recommend. I'll put some that's less than $100 for the reel and the rod. And then I'm going to put some that if I had $100 for the rod and $100 for a reel, I'll put those in there as well. That's about it, guys. I mean, the reel is, like I said, it's pretty simple. It's a winch. I mean, that's basically it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'm excited about this series. I think I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, if you would, leave a like and subscribe to my video, share it if you can. I want to get this out to as many people as possible. I hope you have a great day. I hope you learned something. Like I said, like the video, subscribe to the video if you don't care, so it'll help me reach more people.